Hello and welcome to the McCloud podcast. I'm Carl Ross Sr. and this platform was created to motivate and to inspire in hopes that you become a better you. I'd like to give a shout out to everybody that's listening all over the world. Thank you guys for tuning in to the McCloud podcast. We thank you for your support. Listen, we have a very special guest with us here on today. We have the one and only Mr. Antonio McCloud, who is a artist. I like to call him an artist because he can do so many different things, and I'm super excited to have him here. What's happening, Antonio?
What's going on?
Hey, man, long time no see, bro.
Yeah, long time no see. I remember them days.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Many years ago, man. But first, before we get started, man, the premise of the show, as stated before, is to help people become better. And, you know, as I was looking at your story, man, you have a very compelling story, Antonio. It's very interesting, man. And, you know, sometimes when you grow up and you're around each other, you never know where God is going to take those individuals that you see, you know, in your childhood. And then you become adults. And then it's like, wow, this dude has traveled throughout his lifetime, has done some amazing things. So before we actually jump into everything, let's start from the beginning, if you would. Where you from, Antonio?
I'm from Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
A Trey-Fo.
A Trey-Fo. I was going to let you say it.
Yes, sir, man. Listen, man, and along the way, man, I see what school did you go to again, Antonio?
I went to Glenn High School, and then in college I went to North Carolina A&T, but I graduated from WSSU.
Okay, Ram in the building. Yeah. Yes, sir. Well, one thing about it, you know where you at. You know, you're right here in Aggieland, you know.
But I paid my dues on the football field for Aggieland.
Oh, did you really, man? What position? That's right, you did play ball.
I played strong safety and linebacker.
That's right. That's right. I remember. It's all coming back to me now. Yes, sir. What was it like over at North Carolina A&T, man? And then we can.
It was a party school.
Okay.
I mean, we would have gym jams every Friday.
Yeah.
You know, there was a lot of parties going on around town that was close to campus.
Sure.
You know, I mean, it was just everybody was fun loving, and you know, it's like most of the people that went to North Carolina A&T, they was raised with some type of black political thought. That's the reason why they probably was at a black school, you know.
Absolutely, man.
So, you know, so they thought like prominent black people. You know, we wasn't bougie.
I got you.
But we weren't ghetto either.
I get it.
You understand what I'm saying?
I know exactly where you're coming from.
So they was they was just like the type of people that will be in politics.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I love it, man. And then so later on, you went to Winston-Salem State University. What was your major?
My major at Winston-Salem State University, at first I was a history major.
Okay.
And then I changed it to political science and minor in history.
Got you. I got you, man. That's pretty interesting, man. So what was some of the things that you learned while you were there in political science? How did it mold and shape you? And what was that journey like for you, Antonio?
Well, my American government teacher taught a lot about the platform of politics.
Yeah.
You know, he made us keep up with the deficit every day. But one of the most amazing professors I had was Dr. Larry Little, who was the head of the Black Panthers here in Winston.
Legend. Yes, sir.
So
yes, sir.
He taught the classes like we were in the Panther movement. It was like we was back in the 60s.
I love it.
So when he taught criminal law and constitutional law, he was teaching you the ins and outs about it, how to get around the law, you know, as a black man in America.
Yeah.
You know, so it really wasn't too many Caucasians in the classroom. So he could really like home in on what we need to know.
Yeah. That's good stuff, man. The fact that you had somebody like that teaching you. I'm from Winston-Salem too as well, so I'm very familiar with Attorney Little and a lot of the things that he's done in the community as he continues to press forward for us in our community. You know, this right here is what this platform is all about, to kind of like shed light on those gems and those diamonds that are in our community that sometimes we just don't hear about, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So as we keep going, so you in the class, college, what was next for you right after Winston-Salem State?
Well, I'll tell you what happened.
Sure.
That prepared me for my next level.
Yeah.
Dr. Larry Little asked me to do a protest song for Daryl Hunt.
Yeah.
And
rest in power. Yes, sir.
Yeah, exactly. But he had heard, Larry Little had heard my music like 2 years ahead of time.
Gotcha.
And we were doing petitions for Daryl Hunt while he was still incarcerated.
I remember those. Years. Yep.
And so he wanted to match my talent with the situation.
Sure.
So
I got you. And I'm sure it went together well.
It did.
Yeah.
And
what was the name
exploded.
of that song?
It was called.
I mean to cut you off.
It was called Hunt for Justice.
I love it, man. I love it. I got a quick little story to tell right quick. I remember when Brother Hunt came home. This is before he passed away. And I was a restaurant manager over at Arby's. Up on, I want to say Silas Creek, at the top of Silas Creek, where I guess where the Wendy's sit right there. Was that Peters Creek? It might be Peters Creek. So I remember when he first came home, it was him and his beautiful wife at the time. And they came up and they got some Arby's. They got some Arby's, man. Of course, he didn't pay for anything. I made sure he didn't pay for anything. And the one thing that I remember about Mr. Hunt is he was very peaceful. Very, very quiet spoken. He gave the biggest smile that you knew this brother was just on a mission to bring about change. And he did in a sense. What was the name of that nonprofit organization that he had? If you can remember. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was helping brothers transition from prison. I might be wrong. It could be right, though.
It might be Daryl Hunt Foundation.
I think you're absolutely right. Yeah.
See, the other thing that I want to tell you is that April, his wife, is actually my cousin, blood cousin.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Talk it.
So,
yes, I love it.
He was in good hands from the beginning. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because she was a sweet lady, man,
exactly.
when they came in, man.
So,
I never forget
he married her before I even got involved with the case.
On.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I absolutely love it, man. So you were head of this. Was it a march that you guys did, Antonio?
Well, it was when he was actually out on bond during. No, he was already freed, right?
Okay, gotcha.
And when the Dr. King birthday came up,
yeah,
it was an actual march. He was leading the march.
Wow.
Yeah, but I'm gonna tell you what happened before the trial.
Please go ahead.
What happened before the trial is that I used the music video that I did with the song to bring the people to the courtroom.
Yeah.
That day that he was exonerated.
Gotcha.
You know, so the students saw it. Maybe 1,000 students at WSSU saw the video.
Yeah.
Doing a talent show, which, you know, it was a protest song, and we was just trying to get people to come out to the courts and support. And so they got vans and carpooled to the courtroom. Every courtroom was filled, and they had television cameras in the courts where he was not at.
Yeah,
you know, so. I was, but while I was in the courtroom,
yeah,
I was confronted by the authorities because what the song actually meant.
Gotcha.
I mean, so the thing about it is that, you know, to be honest with you, I could have been charged with sedition. You know, so, but they didn't.
Can you tell the folks what sedition is for those who may not know?
Sedition is when you threaten the government in a revolutionary manner.
Gotcha.
You know, where they think harm gonna come to the system or the government based on what you're doing.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so it's like I didn't get arrested that day.
Thank God. Yeah.
But they had some other plans.
Sure.
So the thing about it is that I went underground, and I figured after I graduated from college, because all this happened in 2003, a year before I graduated.
Okay.
So I went underground. I was in Miami.
And all this was happening during your college years.
Yeah, but I was getting a real education about life, other than what's in those books.
Absolutely.
So I was confronted with real decision making and real issues while I was in college. So I went underground. I was in Atlanta. I was in Miami. I was in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I would rarely come back to Winston for a whole 3 years.
Wow.
It got so bad where I ended up homeless on the street. And so
is this before you left Winston?
This was after I graduated from Winston.
Wow.
I didn't go into a job after I graduated from WSSU because it was so hot from the whole Darryl Hunt situation.
Sure.
I just left the city.
Got you all together.
But they had to be watching me by satellite, so they caught up with me right here in Greensboro at the bus station.
Wow.
And it was the Washington Post wanting to do an interview. And guess who was with him?
Who was with him?
The documentary filmmaker Michael Moore.
Ooh.
So get this. So they wanted to do an interview. I say, are you CIA or FBI? I was like, because, most people that work for the media are CIA or FBI.
Sure.
So I was
I'm not.
No, don't get it twisted.
No, I'm messing with you, bro. It's all fun.
I ain't trying to get you in trouble, man.
Nah, God is with me. I ain't getting in no trouble.
Okay,
but go ahead, bro. I'm having fun, man.
But the thing about it is that so I told him I talked to them off the record.
Right.
So he asked me a lot of questions, right? He asked me how I feel about Bush. I was like, well, he need to handle the terrorist situation. This was like after the World Trade Center got hit and all that.
It was a hot time.
So I was like, well, he need to handle the terrorist situation.
Yeah.
But I didn't vote for him in the beginning. So.
Sure.
But the thing about it is that then he asked me about Tiger Woods, and I was like, well, I ain't mad at Tiger because.
Right.
If that's what you got to do to get in that arena, to say you're not black, then do what you got to do. Yeah. Because, ain't nobody holding you back from being what you want to be. Not even the color of your skin.
That's true, man.
But but he didn't have to go to, I didn't tell him how I really felt about it, because the thing about it is that I'm not going to express how I feel about another black man in the presence of another white man.
I love it.
You understand what I'm saying?
It.
So
and we need to do that more.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love that.
So,
yes, sir.
So at that particular moment, I gave Tiger a pass. You know what I'm saying?
Right on. I got you, bro. I got you.
But partly I felt that way and partly I didn't. But I didn't express no negativity at all.
I love it, man. I absolutely love it. And what's so interesting about this, that you worked, you were in Dr. Little's class, attorney, Esquire.
Yeah.
He's all that, and you worked with him, and then you get out of college. He was teaching you, and then you get out of college, and then he puts you in a position to be an activist through your voice. And not only that, through action too. And so what has that transition been like for you, man, to become an activist? And then we'll go ahead and switch gears and get into some of the other things that you've done within your life. But let's get into the activist part. Was this intentional for you? Did you want to do this, Antonio, or did you just find yourself in that position?
Everything I ever did, somebody asked me to do it. I put it to you that way.
Okay, that's fair.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had a vision from God when I was homeless.
Yeah.
And he wanted me to talk to the people.
Yeah.
So I wrote, when Obama was in office, I wrote resolutions dealing with the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, the Syrian conflict, the voter law changes.
Yes, sir.
And I also asked for hip-hop museums. These are all 4 resolutions I sent to the White House.
And he responded.
I got a letter from Obama. I even have his signature on the letter in my book.
Man, I wish you would have brought it.
I mean, proof is in the pudding.
It's all good, though. I've already seen a portion of your interview, so I know the proof is in the pudding. And man, what was that moment for you, though, man? When he responded, man, what was that like for you?
No, that let me know that I carried out God's wishes as far as like
that part,
talking to the people, and then I was able to talk to the people through my book.
Yeah.
I was.
What's the title of your book?
My book is called Ghostwriter.
I love that. So the inspiration behind the Ghostwriter, which is going to help us transcend into what's next, you went through all of that, but you found yourself ghostwriting. How did that happen, and how did you find yourself actually writing for some of the artists that you did write for?
Well,
and did you know was you always a writer, Antonio? I mean to cut you off or stop you before.
Well, I was always good at writing. The thing about it is that the communications department and the English department at North Carolina A&T had honed my skills so well. By the time somebody asked me to do some writing for somebody, I was ready.
Gotcha.
You know, so the thing about it is that I don't want to mention this person's name. He told me to give his alias, which is Rock.
Okay.
But
I get it.
Rock had an uncle that sold dope for the CIA. I can't mention his name either, but
I wouldn't expect you to.
But the thing about it is that I mentioned the book that he got out called Methadone.
Okay.
And that methadone is the stuff, the type of heroin that wean people off heroin. You know, so he was selling dope for the CIA in the 70s, pushing methadone.
Wow.
And to this day, the guy from Murder Inc., Irv Gotti, is buying the rights to his story to make a movie. So, I mean, I'm connected to people like that.
Absolutely.
You know? So it's like, so Rock came to me about Notorious B.I.G. It ain't had nothing to do with Tupac at first, right?
I got you. Now,
So,
where was this at? Antonio?
Well, the guy that sold dope for the CIA had a record store in Winston-Salem downtown.
Okay.
And his nephew worked for him.
I got you.
So the thing about it is that he came to me about Notorious B.I.G., telling me how Puffy was raping him on his publishing.
Wow.
And told me what happened financially, that P. Diddy bought $40,000 worth of publishing that was worth millions of dollars.
Wow.
And, you know, they was really like hustling big out of his publishing and marketing.
Understood.
So we hadn't figured out what I should do for him yet.
Okay, I got you.
But I came back and told him, I said, well, I can't help him legally or financially.
Right.
But whatever the situation is with those lyrics and the publishing, I could write some songs for him.
Ah, so basically you switched it on him. I like that.
I switched it on P. Diddy.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Because he don't have no rights to that publishing if somebody else wrote it.
I got you.
Unless it's got to do with the music.
I understood. So you found yourself writing for Biggie.
That was the first.
That was the first.
But the thing about it is that I came back later and I told him, based on what happened at Quad City Studios with Tupac, I'm not going to leave Tupac out of the equation. I'm going to write for both of them.
Okay, now which songs did you write for Biggie?
Oh, man.
Yes.
I wrote 10 Crack Commandments, but the 10 Crack Commandments, I learned that from the people I was affiliated that sold dope for the CIA.
Understood.
You know, so
okay,
so
it's a very interesting story.
These young boys didn't know nothing about consignment.
Right, right. It's very detailed. Those lyrics are very detailed. Yeah.
So then I wrote Nobody Till Somebody Kill You.
Great.
And I wrote What's Beef. And the most important one I wrote was Long Kiss Goodnight, and I'm gonna tell you why.
Talk to me.
Because I knew about Crips and Bloods, right?
Sure.
But when I wrote for Biggie,
Yeah.
Team in the Marine Blue,
Yeah.
I never thought that I never knew that they described the Southside Crips as Team in the Marine Blue. I never knew that, but I had wrote it, so it was prophetic. So when he said, "Look what just made me do, see you with my team in the Marine Blue, six coupe, weeded out, skeeted out, cleared the box, so it's like and then he even six coupe was the car.
Yes, sir.
So it's like it was all prophesied. It wasn't it wasn't. It didn't even happen yet. He rapped it after it happened.
I got you.
But by when I wrote it in '95, by the time he rapped it in '97, it had already happened.
Wow, this is just absolutely beautiful to talk about that. And then I heard you mention Tupac. Quad City Studios.
Yeah.
We know of the incident that happened over at Quad City.
Well, a lot of stuff.
Okay, go ahead.
A lot of stuff that I gave Biggie to rap was showing his involvement in that situation.
Understood.
And I don't think he had a choice on whether he was going to rap it or not based on who I was dealing with.
Okay, understood.
So
understood.
So yeah,
understood.
So when you talk about see me in the streets, your jewelry, you can keep it. That be our little secret, because they stole $40,000 worth of jewelry from Tupac.
Yeah, I got you.
So it's a whole lot of idiosyncrasy, hidden messages in there. And he was throwing shots, but it didn't. It wasn't direct. You know what I mean?
Got you. Now this was the Ready to Die album too. Am I right?
No.
Which one is this?
I have nothing to do with Ready to Die. No, nothing to do with Ready to Die.
Ah, got
this
you.
Is Life After Death.
This is Life After Death.
Yeah.
That's the classic though. That album right there, man. Woo, there was some heat on that album.
So
yes, sir. But go ahead.
I think for certain that I'm the only one that could say I wrote for All Eyes on Me and Life After Death.
Yes, I was going to get into that, but go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm not the only one that was affiliated with both of those albums. I know a guy that did the arrangements for Life After Death and All Eyes on Me. He had a restaurant in Winston-Salem, and he was from New York, from Brooklyn, New York. They call him the General.
Gotcha.
And his real name is Lee Tompkins. And he also did engineering work for Lauryn Hill back in the day when she was big.
Got you.
But this guy got 162 platinum and gold plaques in his house from artists he engineered for.
Got you.
And he also has points on the Thriller album where he make over $200,000 a year from the Thriller sales.
Okay, gotcha. Can you explain those points to the folks that may not understand the point system?
Well, the thing about it is that as an artist, you say you got a 360 deal, you probably get 5 points on the album, right?
Okay, got you.
5 points is like $5 for every $15 album sold.
Yeah.
So it's like as a producer, you could get points on the album instead of getting paid up front.
Understood.
Most of the time they pay ghostwriters up front, like maybe $20,000 for an album or whatever.
I got you.
But the thing about it is that Lee Tompkins was an engineer, and Michael Jackson chose to give him points on the Thriller album.
Understood. Yeah. Totally understand.
Yeah. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So that's pretty much the business as it is.
I got you. Yeah. So not only did you write for All Eyes on Me, you also wrote for Machiavelli. Am I right?
Yeah.
Machiavelli. What albums?
That's the most special
songs?
one, though.
Ah, got you. What songs did you write on that one?
It was Blasphemy, Hail Mary, Against All Odds, and Crazy.
Gotcha.
But the thing about it is that I showed Pac how to get back at everybody he was against.
Understood.
And I was like, man, just go ahead and put it out there. Just go ahead, go ahead and expose the people that's that you have problems with.
Understood.
But
Understood.
The thing about it is that before the Machiavelli album came out, his publicist invited me to a Wake Forest game and talked to me about the release of the Machiavelli album.
Yeah.
I gave a verbal consent for the album to be released.
So did you relieve any publishing from that? Anything from that?
The catch was she told me I had to sue Death Row to get paid, and I wasn't willing to do that.
Oh no, not doing that time.
So not doing that. Not maybe later, but
not doing that.
But
time.
but the feds confiscated my copyright and my publishing before. 6 years after.
Understood.
They got paid. But then I got some more VA benefits and I got paid.
And you got paid. Which was the blessing for you. Cause
I don't know if it was really a blessing. I think that based on what they made from it, they'll say, oh, well, we could take care of him for the rest of his life.
I see your point.
So,
yeah. No.
It's all federal,
Yeah. It still was good for you. Yeah. Well, that's so very, very interesting, Antonio. And I appreciate you for being an open book and being as transparent as you could be, because some of the things that you were talking about is, it's touchy, right? Mm-hmm. So as we continue this conversation, were you ever fearful at any moment during this time when all of this stuff was happening?
I was in fear talking to the feds for 3 months. They made me, and then they scared me and told me sign the contract. They're releasing the copyright and the publishing. So
Understood.
I was afraid then.
Sure. That was early 90s.
Was
this later on?
I talked to his publicist in 96 when Pop passed. But then
understood.
I talked to the feds in 2002.
Mm-hmm. Understood.
Before the 7 years was up to be able to sue.
Understood.
But their excuse was, we don't want you suing Tupac's estate or Biggie's estate. So they had me sign that.
Wow. Wow. Listen, man. I'm definitely gonna have to have you come back. We got to do a part 2, Antonio.
Yeah,
it's
we got to.
Yeah, man. It's so much.
It's a whole lot more to it.
I know it is, man. And we don't have a whole lot of time, but I at least wanted to get this one started. But this is just a part 1. To everybody out there, listen. I hope you guys are grabbing everything that he's saying. It's a lot of information in this, and look, we're gonna have Antonio come back for a part 2. So that's keep going. So you did the ghostwriting, and you also were able to. How many books did you write, Antonio?
I wrote one book. I'm the author of one book.
Okay, and what's that title again, Antonio?
Ghostwriter. And I
love it.
I got 3 albums out there. I got 1 album that's online for sale, and the rest I hadn't released yet.
I got you.
But it's on YouTube.
But it's on YouTube, though. I got you, man. This is pretty awesome, and you wrote for you got. Is it publishing that you have with BMI, or you write for BMI? How does all that work, Antonio?
I was contracted as a writer for BMI.
Understood.
But the labels normally use acts of piracy to get writers material. They don't. They try not to go through BMI.
Understood.
That's what I told Tupac's publishers. I'd rather you went through BMI.
Understood.
That way you get your credit, your royalties, and everything else.
Yeah.
But the act of piracy is so prevalent in the music industry. Mm-hmm. They'll have it under BMI and ASCAP in somebody else's name, but not yours. So,
I understand that. So is it fair to say that it was possibly millions of dollars that you missed out on, Antonio? Would you say millions?
I don't think those lyrics was worth that much, because the thing about it is that the music is worth more than the lyrics.
Understood.
the type of royalties I would have received over the years, I don't really know how much it's worth.
Okay.
All I know
Understood.
is that if I live long enough, I'll get what it's worth. Because
Understood.
if in the next 20 years, if I collect the money I'm collecting from the VA and Social Security,
Yes, sir.
I'll be the accumulated $2 million.
I love it.
So
I love it. Listen, Antonio, this has really, truly been an interesting conversation. We're going to do a part 2, bro.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to have you back. So what are you doing now, Antonio? What's going on with you? You got any more books you planning on writing in the future?
I tried to start a book, but
Okay.
I don't have the same passion as I did as far as the ghostwriter book.
Understood.
Because to be honest with you, you talk about times I was scared.
Yeah.
I think the black mob knocked out my car windows one time, and that was the reason why I wrote the book.
Hold it right there. Listen, guys, we're going to have Antonio come back to part 2. And we're going to get even deeper into this conversation. Listen, Antonio, I really do thank you for coming on to the Ross Cloud podcast. Can you tell the folks how can they get any of your material, Antonio, and how can they follow you?
Okay, as far as the book, you go to Amazon or Barnes & Noble's online store and you put in Ghostwriter Antonio McCloud. That's Ghostwriter Antonio McCloud. For you to buy the album that I have online, whether it's Apple, Pandora, or Spotify, it's called Hotep Godfather Hip Hop Part 3. That's Hotep Godfather Hip Hop Part 3. And the reason why I call myself the Godfather is because I wrote for the best in the game.
I love it. Listen, you heard it first here on the Ross Cloud podcast. And listen, keep it locked and stay tuned for part 2 of this conversation with Mr. Antonio McCloud. Listen, this is the Ross Cloud podcast. I'm Carl Ross Sr. Make it a great day and keep being great. Peace.